Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. The month of September is my no buy month here on YouTube, and one of the main themes of not buying new is to use what you've got, and project pans, which the aim of which to use up or to hit certain usage goals on what you've got, are very appropriate types of content for this type of month. When I put out a thing asking what you guys wanted to see on my channel, a lot of you asked for project pan updates, because as some of you may remember, I started a project pan last year and I've never done a finale for it, so I thought we'd do it today, and I can explain that I've never done a finale for it because I think last year I just went in a little bit naively the extent of my issues with how much I owned. I thought I was going to do 1 year of a spending ban and some project pans and a little bit of decluttering and it would all be fine. So we are now into September of my second year of my spending ban, and you know, still overwhelmed by stuff, hence doing a complete no buy month and trying to really track that kind of stuff. What I found last year was that I just had too much stuff, and I didn't declutter much last year because I didn't know my stuff well enough to declutter it, and project planning kind of got in the way of trying to get to know it as well. So this year I've been doing my discoveries and declutters, which if you're new to my channel is basically when I use a product, I put it into a holding space at the end of the month, I review everything that I've used in the last month, and some of it I hold on to and some of it I declutter. I've not been the strongest of declutterers this year, but I think now 9 months into this year I'm realising that what that project's letting me do is weed out the bad stuff, and then next year I'm hoping to do more like group all my red lipsticks together and look at them as a group and figure out where the repeats are and get rid of things that way next year, rather than just was this good, was it okay, or was it bad. And I think next year I'm going to be ready to potentially do a project pan, because this year I'll have really brought the quantity of my stuff down and I'm going to be able to continue doing that next year from a stronger starting space. So I'm looking forward to actually getting back into project panning, and I'm going to do a little Christmas themed project pan I think as well before the end of this year. So if you do like project pans, they are going to be coming back to my channel. But I think this one that I went into last year, went into a little bit naively. I had far too much else going on, and it wasn't the most successful project pan, but I'm hoping, as I say now that I've weeded out a few things and learned a little bit more about being in makeup rehab, that I can be a bit more successful at project panning going forward. So basically I was kind of hoping we would all just forget I'd ever introed a project pan, because it wasn't the most successful, and then I would never need to outro it, but you guys asked for it, so here we go. This is the finale of my first ever project 10 pan. Products that I had the most success with were the base products that I put in the project, no real surprise there. Product number one was my Estee Lauder foundation powder. As you can see, I completely finished it up, so I'm very pleased to have finished that. Powders are something that I have quite a lot of, weirdly enough, and it's funny because I feel like in terms of the amount of things like colour products that I've accumulated, like I know I get excited about lipsticks, perfume to an extent as well is one that I do definitely need to keep an eye on. You know, there's products that excite me, and I can't say face powder ever is or ever has been one of them, but somehow I seem to own quite a few face powders, so I was very glad to finish this one up and roll it out. Although it's a powder foundation, I did just use it as a powder and it was absolutely fine. If I had it again I would finish it again, but I also have so many that I'm not going to be rushing to repurchase any powders anytime soon. On the bottom of this powder, this is the Makeup Forever HD Loose Powder. So on the bottom of this powder, this is where it started, this is where we finished, but there is a little triangle, and I said in the intro that my goal for this was just to get to under the triangle, and I have actually managed that. Definitely would like to continue using this product, but I just don't think to reach for it. I kind of hope by putting it in a project pan it would make me reach for it, but that's not really happened. I'm not going to declutter it, I am going to work through it, but it's going to take me a while. I mean, I should have used it today. It's a powder for filming and it didn't even cross my mind to put it on my face, so doing super well with this one, guys. But yeah, I did hit the goal on it. That's what I wanted to do, and you know, hopefully next year we'll make more progress on this. Another two products that I did well with were my correctors. So I had, these were both from MAC. One of them was the pink under eye corrector, the other one was the green face correctors. I have used both of them up completely. Everything else I would say in this project I haven't touched since the end of last year when I started Discoveries and Declutters, because the whole point is that I use something once and then I review it and either declutter it or put it in the box to get held, so that at the end of the year, once I've worked through everything and gotten rid of all the bad stuff, I'll move everything that I have used back into my storage. All the kind of colour products in this are in the state that they were in at the technical end of this project, which was December last year. Other than these, so these were not finished within the year of the project and I have just continued to use them, but I have finished them now. So they are, for all intents and purposes, a complete pan. Another complete pan, this might not look like a complete pan, but it is the Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector in the shade Moonstone. It's the liquid one, so it kind of looks like there's something at the bottom there, but I don't know if you can see or not. It is actually the stopper. When I tried to take the stopper out of the top, it got knocked in and I've not been able to actually get it out. So I have used up as much product as I can access and I'm calling that completely panned. Absolutely loved this. I thought it was beautiful. I definitely would repurchase it, but it took me the full year to use this up, so I need so little of it. I feel like buying the full size would just be a bit of a waste of money, especially at the moment I have the NARS Hot Sand Liquid Illuminator, so that will serve the purpose that this did. And in about 5 years when I finish that, I might potentially repurchase this. This was the only product that going in changed and got rolled out through the project. The Chanel eyeshadow in Mirage, it's one of my favourite eyeshadows, and when I started the project this was a complete full eyeshadow, but it actually has broken several times and I can't really get a good kind of idea of how much use I really got out of it because of the fact that it's broken, but I did absolutely love it. I know what happened was I chiselled kind of down into it and then it sort of split across, so it split in two originally and then it just kept kind of breaking down from there. So if I hadn't been using it, it wouldn't have broken in the first place, but it's a bit annoying because I can't really give you a good idea of the use, but I am very pleased with how much I know that I reached for this last year. It's one of my favourite eyeshadows. It's discontinued unfortunately, but I will continue to use it and I know that at some point in life I will finish this up completely. But because I couldn't get a good visual on it and I was getting a little bit sick of using it, I actually rolled it out the project and rolled in Tempera from the Modern Renaissance palette by ABA. My thought process in Tempera was basically that because it is just that basic bone coloured shadow, it would go with everything, whereas having Mirage, although it was a beautiful neutral brown shadow and it's stunning, it was restricting me to the eye looks that I was doing because they all had to involve a dark brown. So the whole point in going for this one was that I could get hopefully a bit more use out of it and also whilst panning this work through other things in my collection, so I was quite successful with that. When I rolled this in there was no pan whatsoever in this shadow. It's now got quite a good pan in it. Didn't quite hit side pan, that was my low-key aim to do before the end of the project, but potentially in a future project I would really like to do, I don't think next year's going to be a pan that palette year. I'm going to do a project pan, but it's not going to have a palette as part of it or anything, but I would at some point really like to do a pan that palette, I think, and this would be a really nice palette to do that with. I'd really just like the sort of satisfaction of having a palette that has a lot of use on it. I feel like before I got into makeup rehab I had this, and this is probably part of where the issue came from, is that I wanted everything to just look pristine and perfect, and I feel like now I'm actually more of the mindset that if there's pan in things, there's a real beauty and a real love of that product that's reflected in the fact that it looks used. So I would like to do that at some point with this palette, but I'm really glad that I did manage to hit pan in this project. I put in a blush which had no pan in it when I started, and this is where it was by the end of the project. So this is a super pigmented blush. It probably wasn't the best choice to go for in a project pan because you need so little of this, and again I had been kind of low-key aiming for some side pan which I didn't hit, but we've got a good true pan on in there. I really like this. It's the Illamasqua cream blush in the shade Rude. It is so pigmented that you just need the tiniest amount, but it's a lovely blush. It's definitely expired and I really should have probably just, I obviously had to keep it to show it to you guys. I should probably just throw it out, but I think I'm going to maybe use it tomorrow just to see how it is, because it kind of still seems fine. I do actually have a makeup sanitizing spray that I use on my products, so that hopefully is killing any germs. Basically, until a product kind of seems a lot less pigmented and isn't performing, or the consistency has changed, or I'm reacting to it, I'll basically keep using things past their expiry. I mean, I'm now a year and 9 months into a spending ban, so I mean everything I own basically is expired, so if that grosses you out, this is just not the channel for you. I had 3 lip products in the project. First one, which there's no visible progress on, is the Bourjois Rouge Edition in the shade Peach Club. So this is actually not opaque packaging, which is what I thought it was when I started, because my brown one has been sitting on its side and it has actually, this is formula round the outside, but I think you do need to really sit it upright or whatever to make the formula fall. I've had this for a really long time, but it's still going super strong. It is very, very pigmented. It is, so I'll do a swatch of it, and it's not like, the formula doesn't even seem to be getting like any thinner or anything. It seems to be pretty much exactly what it was like when I first got it. That is what that one looks like. It's a really, really pretty colour, particularly for summertime. I'm glad I made progress on it, but nowhere near finished. Well, I don't know because I can't see in it, but it doesn't feel like the formula is getting any thinner or that I'm having to work to scrape anything out, so I don't think it's anywhere near finished. What is very near finished and has surpassed the goal that I originally set at the start of this project pan is my MAC Viva Glam lipstick by Cyndi Lauper. That is what this now looks like. I'm really pleased with that. I'll show you. That is the shade there. I think like part of my key issue that I actually picked, ironically, I picked this because as you can see it's very sort of soft pink, easy to wear colour, but that's not really me. I don't know if you can tell that from this lip. Like, this kind of lipstick makes me really happy. I really like reds, I really like bold lips, and my kind of thought process was if I put something like this in, that I could use up quite a lot of it because I could wear it like every day and whatever, but overall I don't want to wear like a colour like that every day. Like, I'd be happier wearing a red lipstick every day. I mean, a colour like this I maybe wouldn't necessarily wear to work, but so this is obviously much more appropriate for various different situations, which should have made it easier to use, and it was easy to use because it was never an inappropriate lipstick or an overdressed lipstick or anything for an occasion. But yeah, I didn't feel like myself with this, and I think that's one of the things I would say I've learned from project panning is, like, if you're going to do like a lip colour, make it one that you feel like the best version of you in, whereas this felt like I'd picked this because I thought this colour would be easy to pick up and use a lot. But I am really, really pleased, and I actually, despite what I've just said, would like to include this in a future project at some point because I'd like the satisfaction of finishing a lip product. I've never finished one, and I do feel I could potentially actually finish that at some point, so I would like to do that. Not maybe next year, but maybe the year after. We shall see. And then the last product that is not quite done yet, but is so close to being there, but again I think this would be potentially a good shout for a future project, is the Marc Jacobs lip gloss. So the stopper is out of this, it is very much on its way out, but the Marc Jacobs lip glosses are very pigmented, so I've just swatched that there so you guys can see, like, that's not a little nudie gloss, like there is colour to this, so it's not the sort of gloss that you reapply. It seems to last really well as well, so although this is like a little mini that I put in this project at the start of last year, and obviously this year I've not been using it because I've not been using any of my colour products more than once. The progress that's on this happened within the year of that project, but yeah, it did take me the whole year just to get to use this. So again, I would like the satisfaction of finishing this, so it might end up in a future project at some point. So that is the finale of my first ever project pan. Not the most successful, not the most exciting, but you know, I learned a lot about what sort of products I would pick for future project pans, so that they are hopefully a bit more interesting for you guys to watch, that you can see progress on things, and be more fitting into my everyday life, to actually use products up without feeling restricted or feeling not like myself or whatever through using them. So definitely learned a lot, so I have no regrets whatsoever about doing it. I am glad that I did discoveries and declutters this year instead of another project pan straight away. I think that was important. I think I needed to do that. So next year I'm going to do a project pan, but it's definitely doing a project pan that I'll probably do updates every 2 months on, I think, rather than like every month, because it will be doing that project pan and trying to use those products while still continuing with discoveries and declutters. But anyway, that is all chat for next January, when I make my plans for next year and I set them out at the start of the year in my 2020 goals video. It's terrifying that it will be 2020 next year. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this and I will speak to you soon. Bye!